It's a quiet morning in rural Canada. Two trains, one carrying passengers, the other hauling freight, are proceeding along as planned until a critical error occurs, putting one of them on a collision course with the other as it approaches. A tragedy is about to unfold, a catastrophic mistake, measured not only in monetary loss but in human lives. The answer as to why will only ever truly be known by one man. The 8th of February 1986, Alberta, Canada. An eastbound Via Rail passenger train number 4 is on a transcontinental journey from Jasper to Edmonton. On board are 94 passengers, 14 stewards and 7 crew members, totaling 115. The train consists of 14 units in an unusual configuration due to it being made up of 2 separate train services being coupled together. Heading west on the same line is Canadian National Freight's train number 413. It is made up of 3 locomotives pulling a staggering 115 cars laden with a variety of cargo, ranging from metal pipes to grain to liquids. It measures 6,124 feet, or 1,867 metres long. Being a freight train, it has just 3 crew members on board, made up of an engineer and a brakeman up front, with a conductor sat in the caboose, the most rearward compartment. Due to their irregular shift patterns, it is not unknown for freight train crew to get little sleep in between journeys. The freight train proceeds along the route towards its destination of Edson, while the passengers aboard the Via train enjoy the sights of the Canadian Rockies and the onboard service as it snakes its way through the mountains. Both trains are operating on CN's Edson subdivision in Alberta. As it is a single-track line, only one train can travel in a given direction at any time. Trains travelling in opposite directions must rely on designated sidings, also known as pull-off areas, to pass each other safely. A siding is a short parallel section of track connected to the main line by switches at both ends. When 2 trains are scheduled to meet, one is instructed by a series of lights similar to traffic lights on a road when to stop on the siding and wait while the other continues along the main line. When it is safe to proceed, the lights change again, allowing it to rejoin the track and continue with its journey. The freight train crew receive orders indicating they are to pull into the siding and wait. The passenger train has the right of way. The dispatcher sets the railroad switch so that the freighter can enter the siding. As it moves into the section, the lights tell them to stop, but the train doesn't slow. It instead passes the signal over the allowed speed limit, through the entirety of the siding and re-enters the main track. At 8:40 in the morning, the unthinkable happens. Some of those on board the passenger train see the approaching freighter coming towards them. Some shout out in horror, while others assume there must be a rational explanation. But with both trains only meters apart and a combined speed of 108 miles per hour, it is too late for either of them to stop. The distance between them disappears in seconds and they collide head-on. The locomotives at the front of both trains disintegrate almost instantly, their massive steel frames crumpling under the enormous kinetic force. A wall of flame erupts as fuel tanks rupture. The freight locomotives jackknife and fly off the track, derailing dozens of heavy cars behind them. Compartments are torn open, seats twisted into scrap, windows blown out. Some passengers are thrown violently, others are pinned. Fire quickly spreads and thick black smoke fills the wreckage. In the chaos, people are able to make their way out of the shattered wreckage. Within minutes, the rural peace of Alberta has been replaced by carnage. Of the 118 on board both trains, 71 are injured and 23 lose their lives. The sole survivor of the CN freighter is the conductor who was sat in the back of the train. The inquiry into what would become known as the Hinton train collision found that the disaster wasn't caused by a single individual, but by a widespread culture within the railway industry, what they describe as a railroader culture, that prioritised loyalty and productivity over safety. One example of this attitude was the routine practice where crews would board and exit moving trains on the fly, meaning they'd get on or off while it was still moving to save time and fuel, in clear violation of rules requiring full stops and brake tests during crew changes. Despite being a common occurrence, management claimed they were unaware of the practice. A critical safety feature, the dead man's pedal, which should automatically stop the train if the engineer becomes incapacitated, was likely bypassed, common practice at the time using a heavy weight to hold it down. Additionally, a more advanced safety system, the reset safety control, was not installed in the lead locomotives. Though one of the trailing units had it, it was not used at the front because it lacked a comfort cab. Both management and unions would often favour comfort over safety when assigning locomotives. Regarding the freight engineer, the Commission could not determine whether he had fallen asleep or suffered a medical emergency before the crash. He was said to be in poor health, an alcoholic and heavy smoker with pancreatitis and diabetes, which put him at high risk for a heart attack or stroke. The report criticised Canadian National for failing to monitor his medical condition adequately. Communication between the front and rear of the freight train was also inadequate. The conductor told them he'd tried to contact the men in the front by radio, but received no answer. Regulations required the conductor at the rear to activate the emergency brake if he lost contact with the head-end crew. However, he failed to do so, claiming he didn't believe the train was out of control. He later testified that he couldn't reach the driver by radio, though he managed to contact the dispatcher shortly after the crash, casting doubt on that claim. His testimony would be deemed unreliable. While unable to be proven, they speculate that he may have fallen asleep, missing the signals and failing to take any action. But only the conductor himself will ever know the real answer as to why he didn't act. The final report lists human error as the likely cause of the freight train's failure to stop. Canadian National Rail introduces improved safety measures to stop its crews from falling asleep, with a series of alarms they have to actively reset at intervals to essentially keep them busy so they don't get too relaxed and fall asleep. The new system, unlike the basic deadman pedal, is not able to be circumnavigated, and conditions are improved to give them more regular shift patterns and longer rest breaks. Thanks for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If so, give it a like for the time and effort I put into making it, and subscribe to catch brand new episodes as I upload them, and I will see you next time.